What's up, NoggTV family? Today we are making another Resident Evil video, except this one is talking about some of the top jump scares in Resident Evil games. I'll be honest, I've never done, well actually I take that back, I did do a reaction video like 3 or 4 years ago, and I've kind of forgot how to do them, and I'm not very good at setting them up, whereas this one I'm talking about the top 10 jump scares. This is a Watch Mojo video. Hopefully I don't get copyright claimed, not that I'm making money off of this anyway, so I'm a big scaredy cat, and I think that needs to be mentioned. I do remember this one, and well, I know that's the intro. Resident Evil Village didn't have quite as many. I wasn't really worried about Lady D. The original Resident Evil, that one, Resident Evil 7, even as I'm talking and trying, yeah, I don't know. This one, at first, I was confused. I remember I was like, who is this guy? I've heard of Nemesis. This isn't Nemesis. And then after just went, I was like, whoa, whoa. Or the one where he burst through a wall from like another area that you weren't thinking about. Birkin's Claws. That one wasn't too bad. I was more just like, oh, I didn't find Birkin to be that scary. He seems more of just like a weird, gross creature. I don't know. I tend to get scared more of the very humanoid things that are closer to reality. That's like, whoa. The more monstery something is, I'm just kind of like, It's like Nemesis is kind of like, it's still kind of creepy looking, but he's not as humanoid. Mr. X is like, just looks like a really big, like pale dude. I don't know. I wasn't really scared of Professor Birkin. He more so was just a menace.
Oven Man, Resident Evil 4.
Oven Man was just kind of a quick, cheap jump scare. Because I'd always remember that like there was one there, but I could not remember ever where it was at, and I would always see it, and I would make the habit of running really fast in these games, and I'd start running through, and eventually I'd see it, and I'd go to stop, and it was just far enough that it was just like, he'd come out and jump in my face.
Number 8, Cabin in the Woods.
Cabin in the Woods.
Resident Evil.
This one again was one that when I came up to it for, oh gosh, the loading screens. You guys can't hear that, but I didn't realize that in the new remake, the Cabin in the Woods was actually added in, which means it wasn't in the original. But I kind of thought it was interesting. Lisa Trevor, yeah, this is the part where Lisa Trevor was like, I wasn't really scared of this one. I more was just like, huh? Because I had known that Lisa Trevor was in this game, so I was like trying to figure out where she was going to show up. I knew it would be eventually. But it was more like, yeah, I found this more scary than the actual jump scares, was that moment of like, I can't get around them. It's such a tight space. I can't. Yeah, that one for sure. Everything in Resident Evil 7 stays scary. Like, it doesn't matter if I know exactly what it is, where it's going to show up. This crap gets me. Like, it just because it's such a horror game. Like, it's perfect. You start running through the long hallway, and you're just like, even when you kind of like know you're kind of like slowly creeping up, when he pops out, Jack Baker is one of the greatest villains in the series. I don't think anyone's going to dispute that. He's just a menace, man. He's like one of those, like, you're absolutely terrified, but at the same time, you're like, okay, this is so cool. But yeah, the fight where he just freaking at the police officer, dude, that was wild. That one. Oh yeah, Professor X, Professor X, Mr. X. Again, I did not play the original game. So they're talking about the original, like, oh, we were waiting for this to happen, and everyone saw it coming when they were waiting for the remake. I'm like, not me. I don't know. Okay, so it's kind of talking about. I'll try to leave parts of this in here when I think it's interesting to let him talk. But it looks like I like the way they did that, where it's more head on. In the remake, it looks like in the original, he kind of just gets to drop down, and you just know he's there. But it's like,
Number 5, Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Again, this one isn't one that just had me terrified, like had my heart pumping. Oh, he's talking about the demo. I didn't ever play the demo. Well, actually, I played the demo on the cloud version of the Switch. That was like the only one. I know that when they talked about Resident Evil 7. Resident Evil 7 had a demo that a lot of people really loved and was really incredible. And sometimes the demos in games are like completely different than what like the original or what the finished product ends up being. I wish there was a way. I don't know if there is a way to go back and like actually
Evil 3.
played demos after the whole game is out. You could probably watch videos. Obviously, you can watch footage. Yeah, they're talking. Okay, I was. They confused me there. It said first encounter, and he started talking about Mr. X, blah 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 blah. I'm like, what does he have to do with Resident Evil 3? Again, Nemesis scary, but I think most people, like I was talking about in my ranking Resident Evil games video, which you can check up here in the corner, which I forgot I might cut my finger off. Up here somewhere, up in the corner. A lot of Resident Evil fans do not like the original, or they don't like the remake of 3, and they much prefer the original, because Nemesis is a lot scarier in that one. Yeah, Marguerite was definitely one that was just like teetering on the bounce of she's really creepy and terrifying, but also gross and disgusting. Yeah, probably the most in-your-face creepiest, because Jack is more of like a stalker, kind of like. And then obviously I forgot their son's name, but he's more of just like mind games and stuff like that. But yeah, she was always kind of weird, and it's just weird too playing in the boss fight with her, because it's almost like she's pregnant and she just like gives birth to these like bug creature things. That one was like,
Shoot the water. Resident Evil 4.
Shoot the water. Okay, so this is an interesting one. I know Shoot the Water was around for the original. Yeah, I did not actually ever encounter this in the original. I was not doing it until the achievements came out, and that's the only reason I found out about that, was shooting the water, and I was like, okay. And then it was more just like oh, okay. So I get how it would be actually a lot more terrifying if you were just like, I wonder what happens if I do this. I'm just going to start shooting in the water. And then you just get auto death in one hit.
Number 1, the dogs.
The dogs in the first Resident Evil. I never played the original Resident Evil. Was this acted out with actors? I'll be honest, that's not what I would have put as number 1. Again, it's probably a thing where an older game, you're not as sure as what to do. Gosh, this looks so old. I get it's one of those things, if you're a fan of the older games and you're around in that time, it's like, oh, the dogs. I didn't think the dogs were that bad. I could have put, I think they already talked about the Jack Baker moment in 7 and the Marguerite one in 7. But I also think that something else that could have been worth talking about was I feel like there's, which, let me see when this was made, 3 years ago. Was this after Village? This might have been after Village. I feel like they would have had to at least put, so something I would have put in. I'm surprised they put in the moment with Lady D in there, but they didn't throw in the freaking baby scene, the baby part in Village. Like, how? That's way more. That's like the most terrifying part of the game. Lady D, yeah, has a couple. She's she's more Mr. X stalker kind of vibes, like show up when you least expect it and when you feel safe. But the baby, man, just that constant, like, dude, that to me was crazy. And I'm assuming it's not including DLC, but like some of the mannequin parts, I'm assuming maybe it's talking about like actual characters. But still, I would say the jump scare, like there's in Village, there's several more. The part where you're running around the corners and like paintings are falling, doors are opening, there's shadows, there's the little illusions you're seeing. The mannequins in the DLC, let me tell you, scariest moment I've ever encountered in a video game, maybe top 2, 1 or 2 at least. But gosh, that was oof. I'm sorry if that was kind of a weird setup for a video. Probably not very long, me just talking about the scares that they're talking about in a Watch Mojo video. It'll be good practice, because at some point I do want to start reacting to either funny stuff, scary stuff, interesting stuff, reacting to stuff in general, just to throw in, sprinkle in a little bit here and there for some video variety. Thank you for everyone that watched. And don't forget today's sponsor, Dubby, energy drink, jitterless, tasty. What more can you ask for? You can go to their website, w.gg, and you can use code NoggTV to get a percentage off, and it helps me out, and it helps you out because Dubby's tasty. Finally, click this video up here, and you can check out that video I mentioned earlier talking about ranking the Resident Evil games, and yeah, go watch it. Go watch some NoggTV. Thanks, guys.